Time now for a look back at the last week in the craft beer industry. Pour a cold one and sit back for an all-new episode of Pints and Quarts, presented by Craft Beer Nation.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 14 of Pints and Quarts, a show from Craft Beer Nation where we talk about the news, we talk about festivals and new releases. So join us for 30 minutes here, and you're going to get your chance to hear all the good stuff. So we are here. I've got a normal panel of some folks here. We've got Parridgen Randy Gardner Jr., Lola Lariscy, and Doug Nolan tonight. How are you all this evening?
Fantastic.
Good.
All right. We actually do not have a special guest this week. I decided that maybe we'd take a break from that because it's a scheduling nightmare to try and get everybody lined up and just talk a little bit more about some of the news. There had been things in the news that we wanted to keep talking about, and they kept getting pushed because we'd have these fascinating guests and we'd run out of time or run over on time. So this week there was. I love the video for this, so we're going to talk about a story here now, and Lola's going to really fill us in on the details. But I saw the video to this thing, and this just feels like Oktoberfest. I mean, this just feels what German beer is all about. But we've got a world record holder, Lola, right?
Yep. You gotta love Germany. They can't. It's not enough to have beer. They have to have a man holding 27 pints of beer at one time and going 40 meters. This man, let me get his name. His name is Oliver Strumpfel, and he got the world record for ale carrying. He took 27 pints, a distance of 40 meters, and you really should look up the picture. This poor man, he's just holding it, and I don't know how he's doing. It's a feat of anti-physics because it's just he's holding this with two hands. How are these not falling? I mean, I get that it's like friction and holding itself together, but how are they not falling?
I mean, this was 27 pints of beer in big heavy glass mugs.
Yeah.
This guy was holding these things chest high, so you're talking about pretty significant upper body strength. And then balance, and then he has to run with these things for 40 yards, or walk with them for 40 yards, or 40 feet, or whatever,
and
without spilling it.
Yeah, and I still pints.
It says 27 pints, but then later it says 27 liters.
Liters, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I just realized that it says pints, but when you look at them, it's the true Oktoberfest glass. I mean, I actually have two of those here. I should have brought one out. I mean, if you look, they're almost as big as his head.
Well,
like a big dimpled mug, yeah.
The true Oktoberfest ones are liters, right?
Yeah, you're probably right. I would imagine that someone took some liberties and said pints because, Americans writing stories and stuff.
Yeah, it sounds better to say pints. I mean, who would have pints, like, in the name of their show or whatever? That's just ridiculous.
If a bartender didn't give you the beer you ordered, right, if you didn't get a full liter, couldn't you get your thumbs cut off and stuff? I mean, they were serious about making sure you got all the beer you were supposed to get.
Purity laws, man.
Yeah, purity laws, right?
Yeah, if you don't get all of your liter, then you're out of there. You're disappeared into the Black Forest.
Yeah, and maybe they should bring some of those laws back, seriously, right?
Yeah, for beer. Beer is serious. We take it very seriously.
Yeah.
The picture I really like is the poor guy who competed against him and didn't make it.
Yeah, he was wearing his beer by the end of the run.
Oh, it's pouring off of him, and you see one is just toppling onto his chest.
I don't know how many times they tried carrying that beer, but somebody's got to drink that beer at the other end. They don't just dump it out, right? He carries them over and then hands the mugs out. It sounded like there was a pretty good crowd present, so.
I would think so. And you know what? I would be right beside him going, that's mine. Don't you dare drop that. I'd be like,
don't spill my beer.
Exactly. I'd be like, that's mine. I'm putting my name on it. That one stays upright.
I couldn't help watching the video, though, and not hearing my mom yelling, make 2 trips. Just make 2 freaking trips.
Well, we got to get it fast.
Get it all in one trip, yeah. So that's to you, Mom.
It's like McDonald's with their 60-second thing. If you don't get your beer in 60 seconds, it's free.
Yeah. That's a dream. Like, I'm fantasizing about that right now. Free beer.
Yeah.
I would still be like tripping the waiter and stuff. All right, so look up the video. Maybe we'll find a link to it here and put it up with something. But the next story, we were talking a little bit about Oskar Blues a few weeks ago. We had Wonderland Brewing on, and they had a Crowler, which is a can growling system. And Randy's got some news here. Apparently, Oskar Blues is going to sell these things. What'd you find?
Yeah, so by now everybody has heard about the Crowlers, right? 32-ounce cans that if I could get them, I certainly would get them. But the good thing, well, not the good thing, but the interesting thing about it is the actual machine that they use to seal these the cans, basically the tabletop seamers, they're only sold by Oskar Blues. And I thought that was really cool because I thought that was a machine that the breweries would be ordering directly from a manufacturer, but no. So Oskar Blues spent 2 years basically developing a prototype for that particular machine, and they debuted. Yeah, they debuted it last November at their original tap room. I think it's the Tasty Weasel.
Yep.
And the debut was done with their can supplier, which we all know is Ball Packaging, right? So in the months since the word about the Crowler has gotten out, they've requisitioned and sold 36 machines to breweries across the country, including Cigar City, Due South, Psycho Brewing in Florida, Ska, Wonderland, like you just spoke about, Matt, and also to Vicky's beloved Arizona's SanTan Brewing, right? SanTan in the house.
So next time anybody has an extra $3,000, they can buy one so I can package homebrew this thing.
Yeah, I mean, wouldn't that be something like for a homebrew club though to buy one? I mean, $3,000 might be a lot of money, but if you got
30 people.
Yeah, I would be interested in canning.
Yeah, our balance right now is $1,800, I think. So we're halfway there.
Yeah,
over half.
So yeah, these the machines are going for $3,000, and the actual Crowler name itself, I thought this was Oskar Blues's name, but that name is actually owned by Ball.
Crowler is?
Yeah, Crowler. Yeah, they own that name, and the machine that Ball doesn't actually make the machine, but Ball has the Crowler name, which refers to the container itself, but the machine is made by this company out of Wisconsin Aluminum Foundry, but it's sold exclusively through Oskar Blues. So that's pretty awesome for them, right? I mean, if you want a Crowler, a tabletop seaman machine, there's only one place in the country you can get it, and it's at a craft brewery, and a damn good craft brewery at that.
Yeah, I guess they're selling a bunch of them, so.
Well, it says I was reading about it also, like they don't advertise it. It's just kind of word of mouth. You hear about it, ask about it, they'll sell it to you, but they're not like marketing it or saying, hey, you guys want this? If you kind of go to them and want it, show interest, then they'll sell it to you.
Yeah, and if you're a brewery or a bar and that sounds interesting, find us on Google Plus because I've got the email address of the guy at Oskar Blues that will hook you up with all that. So,
and the good thing about it for Oskar Blues is that not only do they sell the machine, but they actually sell the cans because they have to order a minimum of 60,000 at a time. What brewery that who's going to have a tabletop steamer is going to order 60,000 Crowlers?
Right.
That's a storage nightmare, right? So Oskar Blues orders 60,000 at a time and sells them out to the people who buy the Crowlers, the tabletop steaming machines as they need them.
Yeah, and I think when we did the first story on this a few months ago, it was like adding $1 to the can to the growler fill price. So if a 32-ounce growler fill of their beer was $6, you'd pay $7 to get the can. So
I'd gladly do that for fresher, longer beer that's fresher longer.
Absolutely, because I definitely have that problem with. Okay, I'd like to get a growler of this, but I'm not going to drink it for 3 days. So I don't want to have to drink it, even if it's just
or even if you're not going to drink it for a month.
Yeah. And I could certainly drink 32 ounces of a beer. 64 is a pretty big commitment in one night.
Right.
So, yeah, there's lots of benefits to that.
Ken Grossman from Sierra Nevada, when they were doing the beer camp across America, they stopped at Oskar Blues and he bought 3 of them. And he brought 3 of them. He sent 2 of them back, and then he kept one of them on their bus that they were driving across the country.
Yeah.
And they actually
Nice.
they canned Pliny.
Oh my goodness,
That's a great idea.
yeah.
Yeah.
We should do
So,
that.
Wouldn't you like to be the kind of guy that can say, you know what, here's $10,000, give me 3 of those things?
I mean,
And then drive around the country.
Yeah.
honestly, I don't think it's that big of an investment if you're a small brewery, it is, but if you're like a pretty good regional brewery, that's probably a decent investment. Number one, for the cool factor, and number two, your people who probably wouldn't normally buy growlers would buy them now because they know they don't have to drink them in the next 3 days,
Right.
and it'll still
But
be fresh
what's
when they do go to drink
I
it.
wonder, I wonder when you buy that thing, you say Oskar Blues has to buy 60,000 of the cans at a time. Do you then, if I had a brewery and I bought the machine, do I have to buy the 60,000 cans? Like,
No,
No,
they
he was
sell
saying you buy them from Oskar Blues in smaller quantities.
exactly.
So they're like the distributor of the cans too.
Unless you want to buy 60,000 cans,
Ball would love to talk to you.
right?
Cans.
You know, and I think Mission, not Mission. That's the name of their IPA. No, Mission is the
Mission?
brewery.
Oh,
Shipwreck.
Mission.
No,
No,
Mission.
Mission.
They actually do 32-ounce cans on their pale ale and their double IPA.
Yes, they
So
do.
so there are 32-ounce canning lines out there, some places too. So, but not much, And honestly, for Lagunitas perspective, I'd rather have a 32-ounce can of Sucks than a 32-ounce, a quart of Sucks in the glass. But
Yeah.
and that's news this week too. That's all distributing here in Virginia now too. So I guess they're nationwide. We talked to was a year ago that we talked to Lagunitas guys. We
Yeah,
interviewed
about
them,
that.
and he said that was coming. So about a year to get to market.
yeah,
They're
just
at my
last
grocery
year
store.
now.
Yeah. So we're talking about long time coming. There was a Stone story here. We've all had their Enjoy By beer, but now they've got Enjoy After. Doug, what can you tell us about that?
Well, as everybody's always trying to get the Enjoy By, they're always about drinking these fresh, all their IPAs fresh. So they decided to put a little twist on it, make a Brett IPA. So it's an Enjoy After. The first edition is Enjoy After 10/31/15. So you buy this and hang out and let it wait, and after October 31st of next year, crack it open.
For a year,
Wow.
huh?
That's
So-
our birthday, Randy.
You know it.
Wow.
We'll have
And
a
I'm
That's
the
a-
21st. I'm the next week.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I'm the 21st.
Yeah, it says that this IPA will be spiked at the time of bottling with Brettanomyces wild yeast, and the date on the bottle indicates the earliest you should open it. So,
Well,
Yeah.
The Shoots already does that too on the Abyss.
Correct.
yeah, that's an Imperial Stout, though. This
Yeah, I
is
know. I'm just
An
saying.
IPA.
The
well,
the whole Enjoy After thing is what I'm talking about.
well,
Yeah.
they say it's because of one of the things too, because Brett can take a long time to kind of get through things, but it says that it could take that long for it to be fully carbonated, because and in researching this, and a few sour IPAs that some breweries have called them, like the presence of hops can kind of prohibit the sour funks from going on. So I guess that's part of the reason they say it takes so long to build. The hops will slow down. I guess the bottle conditioning maybe.
Well, if hop oil is a preservative, then that would make sense that that's competing with the fermentation process, huh?
Hmm.
So, yeah. All right. Well, that to me, that's something to keep an eye on. I'd be tempted to get 2 of them and drink one of it now. Just to be able
I
to-
was just about to say somebody out there is going to get one and drink it fresh.
Yeah.
It's Matt.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. This thing's only a week old, dude. I like it fresh.
It's like tea. It's
Yeah,
like
that's
beer
right.
tea.
Meanwhile, the bread is starting to feed on my internal organs.
Oh.
Yeah, it's completely still too. It won't be carbonated at all.
Yeah. So another story this week about different use of the fermentation process. I guess Dogfish Head has had some distilling that they've done for quite a while. I think they've got a pretty storied history, but now they're ramping up, right? Right, Randy?
Yeah. So brewing beer, the process of brewing beer, you kind of sort of have all the equipment you need to. I don't make moonshine, but if you wanted to make moonshine, you kind of have everything you need to do it. So Dogfish said, "I'm sure that's always been something in the back of Sam's mind." And the article was saying that a while ago he went to a junkyard and found like a stainless steel feed bin, and he worked with some engineers to basically turn it into a pot still, and they called it Frankenstill. And so they had been for the longest making gin, rum, and vodka at the Rehoboth Beach brew pub, but they were only selling it there at the brew pub. So they recently had an expansion to their main brewery, and they're putting in a much bigger still in there so they can start making more liquor. They're gonna have a twin 500-gallon copper pot still, and then a 26-foot column still that's gonna be made by this company out of Louisville called Vendome Copper and Brass Works. So what they're gonna be making is called a brown honey rum that's made with Delaware honey. They're gonna make Dogfish Head Gin, that's Gin. They call it the OG hop infused spirit, and they're also gonna be making another liquor that's escaping my mind, vodka. And so beginning in spring of 2015, they're gonna be selling it throughout Delaware, New York City, and a few additional mid-Atlantic markets. So that's definitely going to be a lot of fun to. I mean, I would try it I'm not a big gin fan, but I certainly try the vodka and the rum if I were fortunate enough to get my hands on some.
It's interesting you even brought this up because I think I may have mentioned it last week or maybe it was earlier this week that one of my buddies went to the brew pub a couple years ago, and I don't know if it's like a separate like room at the brew pub or if they served it at the regular bar, but they had a peanut butter vodka.
Wow.
I think that got panned pretty hard, but what did you think of it?
I didn't have it. My buddy had it, and he said it was. I mean, I love peanut butter. Don't get me wrong, but the whole idea just sounds terrible.
Well, with the whole the breweries starting to distill, I think I saw like maybe a month and a half ago that New Holland, they're making a bourbon that they're aging in beer barrels.
They do that here in Virginia.
So I thought that's pretty awesome.
Bowman here in the state of Virginia does that. They Hardywood Park takes their gingerbread stout, ages their gingerbread stout, the gingerbread stout aged in the old Bowman barrels. Then they give the barrels back to Bowman. And Bowman puts bourbon back in them. And they sell a gingerbread bourbon.
Have you ever had it?
That's interesting.
I've never seen it.
Okay.
I don't go to liquor stores very often.
Yeah, I don't spend much time in them. And I keep seeing people talk about, at the liquor store, I got a 6-pack of this. Where I'm at in Virginia, you don't get beer in the liquor store. So.
Yeah.
ABC.
Same thing in South Carolina. Like the liquor stores and the beer stores are one building, but they have like a little tiny vestibule and doors on each side. So like the liquor store and the beer store aren't connected per se. They have their own entrances. I guess it's a law thing.
I think it's got to do with the ABV content. I think.
Yeah, I saw that in Columbia when we were down there for a beer festival like 3 or 4 years ago. Went to Greens, and there was like liquor store on one side, beer store on the other side.
Yep.
I think that's why in grocery stores you'll see like liquor mixes, like Bloody Mary mix and margarita mix, because they get away with it because they've got lower alcohol. It's beer level alcohol content. So, all right, we got a little distracted there. Hey, Victoria put a link up this week, and I saw it. And I was excited about this. Sierra Nevada has got just talking about their new seasonals coming out. They've got a coffee stout coming. Is that new this year, or has anybody had that before?
I don't think I've ever had it before.
I haven't heard it either, but that's the kind of thing that I get excited about, is coffee stout. Mm-hmm. And they've got a Boomerang IPA as a winter IPA, a fall season or a winter seasonal IPA, and it just gets the juices flowing. Those two beers sound really delicious. I can't remember what they gave a little more detail about the Boomerang IPA, the hop varieties and that kind of stuff in it, but it just gets me going for the fact that Celebration is coming.
Yeah, I was just about to say, when I think Sierra Nevada and winter IPAs, I think Celebration.
Yeah. I mean, and that thing will come out. Charles, when does that come? Does that come in September here? October?
Celebration? I can't remember exactly when. I know it's a wintertime beer. I thought it was after the New Year's, though.
No,
it comes out.
Isn't Ruthless Rye before Celebration?
Celebration comes out late October, early November. Because
Yeah,
I
it comes
bought
out for Christmas.
Okay, so
I had cases of it at my wedding a few years back in November.
In
so
years
it's
past,
celebration first, and then Ruthless Rye after the New Year. Is that how it works?
yeah, I think the
I think
rye is
so.
a February beer. Yeah,
Okay,
You know, I've made the mistake years past of just buying a 6-pack of Celebration. Then I get another 6-pack. Then I get another space. And screw it. This year, I'm just going to go to my bottle shop and say, "Give me a case of it," and we'll start there.
I think
That was what I did last year. I had about 3 12-packs of that.
Yeah,
It's not that expensive, to be honest. I mean,
No.
it's
decent
delicious.
price.
it's one of the most amazing regular IPAs on the market.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Love it.
Well,
let's
you know,
make a deal. Everybody buy a case of Celebration this year.
I remember when I
Everybody.
didn't like it.
That'll be our second beer on every Friday night hangout.
There you go. Awesome.
Yeah.
This Friday night brought to you by Celebration.
Yeah. Sierra Nevada is now sponsoring Pints and Quarts, by the way. Hello, everybody. It's Pints and Quarts brought to you by Sierra
But
Nevada.
without the money.
Yeah, well, I mean, if the guy can buy $10,000 in growlers, he can give us a few bucks.
Sure.
All right. Well, Victoria, we've been putting this off for a few weeks. Can you give us just a few minutes on the new growler laws in Arizona?
Sure.
It kind of ties into some of the things we're talking about.
Yep, it definitely ties into the growlers. In Arizona, back in July, they made it a law that you don't have to have your growler just made out of glass anymore. You can have growlers made out of plastic or aluminum or steel. So that paved the way for the growlers, which Randy was talking about, and which SanTan has one, and they call it the Canzilla.
The Canzilla.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Do
So
you
now-
think that's one that I'm sorry? Did you think that's one they got from Oskar Blues or something that they've got on their own?
It must be, right, Randy? Didn't you say that they got one
Yep.
from them?
Yeah, SanTan got theirs from Oskar Blues.
Yeah.
Cool.
But they're not obligated to use the name Crowler. The name Crowler belongs to Ball, so they can call it Canzilla if they want to, I'm guessing.
Well, that's just what they called their system, but the
Okay.
cans are still called growlers.
All right. So,
So,
basically they've relaxed some of the rules there, huh?
Yep, exactly. And I've seen Total Wine start selling plastic growlers instead of the glass ones, which I don't think I would want to get, but the aluminum ones and the steel ones look really nice.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, I think here in Virginia they've changed some laws with regards to that too, and I have not had this trouble getting mine filled yet. But and at least in Richmond, you've got to have like a
It's got the government warning on it.
government
Gotta have
warning
a
on
little
it.
sticker on it. Yeah,
Or they won't fill it. And I think some of the places, Whole Foods or whatever, will throw a sticker on it for you.
exactly.
That must be a loose law because I know a place, a brewery here, I'm not going to name for obvious reasons, but they were like, if you bring it, we'll figure out a way to fill it.
I know Hardywood Park here in Virginia has the stickers to put on them. Whole Foods will put the stickers on them. I was at another brewery in Richmond, and I had my aluminum growler there, and they would not fill it because it didn't have the government warning on it, and they didn't have stickers. They're like, we can just write something handwritten and stick it on there with packaging tape. I think, no, that's all right.
Or you
got
can
it.
get one of these.
I got a glass. Well, that's what I had.
Oh yeah, that's what I should do. I should start putting my CBN stickers on my growlers.
Yeah, I've been covering up my Whole Foods ones. Sorry, Whole Foods.
All right.
Well, no,
Yeah,
see,
for
Randy,
me.
that's the growler I have, and since it doesn't have the government warning,
They won't fill
we
it.
wouldn't fill it.
Yeah.
Well,
The
All right, we
breweries
gotta
here,
get a sticker from Whole Foods and stick it on the bottom.
yeah, they'll give you stickers for that.
We got two more quick stories that really only need just a touch on them. One, and both of these came from moderator Michael Tangen, but one was from last week. There was an armed robbery at the Minnesota State Fair. So these guys come in in the night, and they tie up these guys that were working at the craft beer display and took their money. And if the first report was they took $10,000, which was the cash receipts from the draft beer being sold at the fair that day. And then I think they amended the story later on to say $50,000 in cash.
Whoa.
So that's one that's pretty scary. I'd be nervous as hell having that kind of cash lying around, especially when there's a hit. I think this isn't the first time they've been robbed. The fair has been robbed. And
I got
two,
one word: security.
yeah. And two, awesome that the Minnesota State Fair is selling craft beer and $50,000 worth of it. So craft beer is here, I guess, and here to stay. But so scary story there. And the other one, real quick, is this is just like yesterday's news, or just maybe even today. But in Montana and Idaho, they've had a terribly rainy summer, late in the rainy summer, and their barley has sprouted. So
oh man.
They didn't get it harvested, and it was too wet, and it actually started to malt, and it's going to be all they can do is make feed out of it now. So they think there's a significant. They're still trying to do the math on it, but there's a significant portion of their malt, of their grain crops that are ruined for beer making. And I guess those two states, or that region, is the largest region of malt growing in the United States. So they're expecting some impact on beer prices next year.
I read it too, and they think it's not going to be until January because apparently Ontario had a good year.
Okay, well then we'll buy Canadian. We'll buy Canadian grain.
Yeah, wine took a hit with the earthquake, so now beer's taking a hit. Mother Nature's not being kind to libation.
They want us to use a distillery at Dogfish. Mother Nature wants us to use distilleries now.
Mother Nature prefers Delaware. That's what we're finding out.
They want gin. Mother Nature likes gin with a J.
Mother Nature likes the hard stuff. She likes the high alcohol stuff. All right. Hey, we're gonna move into real quick. We're gonna move into the review of the week, and it comes from what I'm assuming is a fake handle for a guy from our craft beer community. He's on Google+. I've interacted with this guy quite a bit over the last couple of years. He's pretty interesting. But his handle is Sy Bernot, SYBERNOT. So we're gonna call him Mr. Bernot for the sake of this conversation. But he did a review, and what I think is amazing about this review is he reviewed a beer that he's drinking for the second time. And the last time he drank this beer, he had a bad one. It was skunked, or it got oxygen in on it or something, but it was terrible. And he didn't like it. And then he went back and he drank it again, and he liked it so much this time he gives it a 9 out of 10. Ooh. So I really appreciate people that are open-minded enough about craft beer that they can take a bad experience and leave it and come back in and drink a beer. I drink so many different beers. If I were to drink something that was terrible, I'm going to taste that terrible the next time, no matter what comes out of the can. So kudos to him. But what he drank Aroma Coma from Drake's Brewing. This is a 6.75% alcohol by volume beer, 75 IBUs, pretty hoppy. So this one was not terribly fresh. It looked like it was bottled in June, drank in September. But here's his comments, just one quick paragraph. This is a revisit. The last one I had was more than a little skunky. Glad to find a much happier version than I had the last one. Pours a clear golden orange with 2 fingers of foamy head, leaving behind lots of spiderweb lacing after a considerable amount of time. So the head really held on for it. Aromas are strong, wet pine and some citrus spice. Flavors follow the nose, mostly pine and some hop spice with some grapefruit pith in the back end. Solid medium body, slightly wet and oily, copious amounts of but mellow carbonation. I love the word copious. What a great use of the word copious. Copious carbonation. The classic West Coast IPA tastes like a pretty big beer, but at only 6 3/4 ABV, I'm glad I revisited this one. Wish these were an all-year thing. So we'll repost that. So come look for Sy's review on the craft beer community on Google+, and follow this guy because he writes some pretty funny things sometimes. I think he also does some tech posting. I think I've got him in my tech circle as well too.
His name is Sy Bernot, so.
Yeah, Sy Bernot, right? Yeah, and he's got Starry Night painting by Van Gogh on his profile. So, an interesting fellow for sure. And maybe it's a woman. Yeah, it could be a woman. I guess I'm assuming.
He's a guy.
It's a guy. It's a dude. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's our review of the week. Thank you, Sy, Mr. Bernot. And a couple of releases coming out here. Three Floyds has got Yum Yum American Pale Ale. I've never heard of that, but that is coming out, 5.5%, coming out here in September. Prairie Artisan Ale is from Oklahoma. They've got their 2nd anniversary. They've really only been around 2 years, guys.
Yeah.
So all the hype at that Prairie Bomb, and really they're just 2 years old. That's exciting. But they've got their anniversary ale. It's aged in Chardonnay barrels, and that's coming out here in a few weeks.
That's called setting the bar real high, man.
Yeah. SweetWater has got their year-round Hop Hash Double IPA. That's coming out in October. Smuttynose Smuttynose and Stone are doing a collab. Got a Cluster's Last Stand American IPA. An IPA from Stone. That's shocking. But that might not be bad to check out. Coronados. Oh, holy crap. They actually made this beer. You remember when we interviewed the brewer from Coronado? He said, we're going to make a pumpkin beer one of these years, and we're going to call it Pumpkin Drublic. I can't even say it. Pumpkin Drublic. Instead of Drunken Public.
Oh my goodness!
We're gonna have to find a link and go back to that interview and show where he was talking about that, because he was like, "Oh man, we got the greatest name, and now we just gotta make a beer to go with it." Pumpkin Drublic.
We had it first.
Yeah, we
Exclusive.
broke that story a year ago. So that's an 8% ABV beer coming out this week. Maybe we should definitely try and talk to them again. BrewDogs has got Russian Doll coming out today. Revolution's got their Oktoberfest out this week. Two Brothers has got heavy-handed wet hopped IPA with Chinook, Centennial, and Cascade hops in there. That one is going to be piney. Just going out on a limb here. And Cigar City has got Lactose Guava Grove Sour Ale.
Oh, I want that so hard.
Yeah, and when they did a Cigar City takeover down at Mekong in Richmond a few weeks ago, and that thing was on tap, and people were apparently more excited about that than they were Hunapu. So it's apparently quite a lacto-forward beer.
Wow.
So that is the beer releases. We're going to talk about festivals. We've got Charleston Beer Week. That is this weekend. So Charleston, South Carolina, charlestonbeerweek.com is the website. The 49th annual Mount Angel Oktoberfest in Mount Angel, Oregon, the village of Mount Angel, Oregon, and that is the 11th and 14th. So that's today and this weekend. Louisville's Craft Beer Week is this weekend. It's actually this weekend next week. It's the 12th through the 20th. Ohio's Craft Brew Festival in Columbus, Ohio, September 12th through the 14th. They are one of the finalists for Stone's East Coast expansion. So I would bet that to be a Stone-centric fest, don't you think?
I'd say so.
I heard they did a tap takeover, a Columbus Stone tap takeover, and they had hundreds of taps all over the city.
Why Ohio though?
Well, Columbus is a pretty decent sized city.
Virginia is so awesome.
Yeah, I know. Richmond and Norfolk are both in the running too. So Virginia's got a 66% chance of landing it.
Yeah.
Hop in the City, St. Louis, Missouri, September 13th. That's Saturday. Friday's the 12th. Saturday's the 13th. Capital Brewfest in Juneau, Alaska. So if you happen to be the 4 people that have internet access in Alaska.
Hey, now BrewDogs did an episode in Alaska, and they had a lot of good places there. It looked really awesome.
Actually, a good friend from work who's a beer guy went to Alaska with his wife and drank his way from brewery to brewery. He says they do a pretty decent job with beer up there too. So, so that might be an interesting one. Septemberfest, Corvallis, Oregon, the 13th. That's Saturday. Addison's Oktoberfest in Addison, Texas, the 18th to the 21st. So that one's going to be next weekend. Beericana Craft Beer and Music Festival in Holly Springs, North Carolina. That's just a little bit southwest of Raleigh, and that is the 27th, noon to 6. So there's a little advance notice on that one. You got a few weeks to get your tickets for that one. So, and we've all got local festivals. We've all got local excitement. So come to the community, come to the craftbeernation.org blog, and talk to us. Tell us what things are out there. Let us know what you want to hear on Pints and Quarts.
Snallygaster.
Snallygaster? What is Snallygaster?
That's the beer festival that's here in D.C. that has like 7 pages worth of beer.
Oh, is that what you were posting about today? Yeah.
They're gonna be pouring worldwide stout. They're gonna be pouring like.
It's this weekend, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you're going, Randy?
Yeah. Go to snallygasterdc.com and look at their beer list, and you're gonna be so mad you didn't get a ticket.
Snallygaster, Snallygaster.
Right. It's gonna be better than.
What does that mean?
It's like a mythical dragon or some crap.
All right, a mythical dragon coming.
I'll be in DC and not at Snallygaster. I'll be that guy.
Oh yeah, you'll be a Blue Jacket.
No, but Blue Jacket is like 2 blocks away from where Snallygaster is gonna be.
Doug,
hey, there you go. Maybe
it's calling to you, Doug.
It is.
Do it. Just just apologize now. All right, that's our show for this week. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. We're going to do a special show next week. We have a guest. We have Annie Johnson next week, and she is the last year, the American Home Brewers Association, the AHA last year she was their Brewer of the Year for a light lager. Fantastic. We've talked to her a few times, had her on some of our BJCP programs. She's going to join the show and talk about the company she works for. She works for Pico Brew. That is the microwave-looking brewing device that the Microsoft guy has built and engineered. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to talk with her, talk about that brewing system, and give you some news, some notes, some festivals, some new releases, and all that kind of stuff. So until next week, everybody, as I always say, find some good friends, get some good beer, and mind your P's and Q's.
This has been Pints and Quarts, brought to you by Craft Beer Nation. You can show your support for our podcast by subscribing to our content on YouTube, Stitcher, iTunes, or our website, craftbeernation.org. Thanks for listening.